Hi guys! Welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. If you're here and you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Maybe turn on the notification bell. Girl, I don't even know what that is, but if you can find it, you can turn it on so that you'll know when I post. Or don't, whatever is good with me. Like the video so people know that you like it, and then maybe it will show people what? And maybe not me trying to be a professional YouTuber and I don't even know what I'm saying. Maybe if you like it, it will show it to other people that like videos like you, and then, that will help me and I would be eternally grateful for that. And as always, leave a comment because all I do when I post these videos is check my comments and chat with you guys. So would love to hear from you. All right. Also, we do have a Spotify if you ever want to listen. It's linked down below. And if you want to join our subreddit to post, cross-post, interact, or do anything on there, or just become a member of the Storytime Society subreddit, that would be amazing as well. Can you get your butthole away from me, Frank? Thank you. I don't want it. It's crusty. I don't know what you're doing right now, but his butthole is crusty, and it always is. And all these cats do. Also, the reason why every single time he gets up here, if you notice, in every single video that he ever appears in, I get so nervous and I pull my computer away because one day, I think I might have told you this because I think I had this podcast at that time, but, I had my computer sitting on the countertop and I was listening to music. I was getting ready to go leave. And, I was in a rush. Then he always used to do this thing where he rubs like this up against you. And then usually he'll give you a little nibble, whatever he's rubbing against, whether it be my leg, my toe, anything. The freaking, literally like a table, if he rubs his little face up next to it, he'll give it a nice little bite after that. And he'll do that to the computer sometimes. And then one day he tried to take a little chomp out of it and nothing happened. But I was like, oh shit, he's trying to chomp on the computer. And then he got up on the counter that one day. He managed to take a chomp out of the computer. One bite, I hear it, I scream. It's literally, I freak out. I'm screaming because all of a sudden I hear the screen crack and I look around and the screen is completely black. And I had to pay $800 to get this motherfucking computer fixed, to get the screen replaced because of him. So now he's not allowed, but look at him. I don't know what he's doing. He probably just wants food. That's literally the only thing he ever wants me for. So he sees this computer and he wants to take a chomp out of it. He's a good boy, but, he loves to chew on things. I think it's an orange cat thing. He loves to chew on things. But mostly when he's hungry. If he's full, he's chilling. He's laying there. He's being a little fat boy. Or he's playing with his sisters. But if he's hungry, he's chewing on every cable that he can possibly find. He's going to let you know that he's hungry. He's going to chew on anything that he can possibly. And it's the one things that you don't want him to chew on. Especially like your toe. One day, I think he acts. See, look at her. She's trying to sniff his butt. Not for the camera, Willa. You're supposed to be a pretty princess, not licking his crusty butt. Anyway, oh my god. I don't even know what I was saying, but anyways, I love him. He's so sweet. But anyways, get out your drink for this little episode while we chit-chat and gossip. I am so sorry that I'm going to tell you I'm drinking a Bang Energy right now. Sorry, there was hair in my mouth. Why, you may ask? Why am I drinking a Bang Energy? Because I'm crazy. I don't know. I needed energy so bad, and I was like, I really want to get an energy drink. And don't question my logic here, okay? So I went to the gas station that I always go to. I was just looking around. I was like, do I want a coffee or do I just want to get an energy drink to give me straight up energy? And then I was like, there's Celsius, but I got nervous about the Celsius because of the lawsuit that they had. And then I thought that, let me grab a Bang Energy, as if that's any better. Like, I'm sure this thing is 20 times worse for you, but it was also on sale, buy one, get one free. So I got it, and it's so good. It reminds me of 2020 when I feel like these were popular, or maybe it was 2019, I don't know. But these used to be so popular, and every model you could find, every Instagram baddie you could find were drinking a Bang Energy and sponsored. Sponsor me, Bang Energy. Please, someone sponsor me. Like, come on. I need a sponsor on this thing. But yeah, it reminds me so much back in the day. Me and my friend would go. They were all the, what is it called? All the rave. I don't know. But the flavors are so good. The unicorn something. I think it's like a unicorn rainbow flavor. I don't know. But this is the cotton candy one. And then I got the blue raz one because blue raz is my favorite. And I just needed some energy. And it seems like I have energy now. I don't know. If I were laying on the couch, just like chilling, I probably wouldn't. But since I'm doing this, it gives me a little bit of a little pep in my step. Okay. I just chugged that and now I'm done. But yeah, so I'm probably going to be like, I don't know. I'm concerned for my health. The fact that I'm drinking that, it's like a new level of psycho. But I needed it. I need the energy. And that's the story, okay? So let me give you guys a little update. Nothing really crazy is going on. I mean, the last time I talked to you guys was not that long ago. So, nothing. When was the last time I talked to you guys? Friday? And now it's Monday. And I'm filming for Tuesday. So happy Tuesday. This weekend, basically the only thing we did was Friday. We had a little Yom Kippur. What is it? How do you pronounce it? Yom Kippur? Is it like that? I don't know. My boyfriend's Jewish, but so we had a little dinner with his mom because she was going to fast, and she did fast. And then we had a dinner 24 hours later, but it was more breakfast for dinner. And that was at her house. We had bagels and chicken sausage, just a bunch of breakfast food, super yummy. I had a coffee. It was like 7 p.m. and so that she could break. Oh, that scared me. So that she could break her fast. And then his brother as well, I think, fasted too. But my boyfriend did not. My boyfriend is Jewish by blood, but he doesn't believe in any religion. He actually believes in no religion. And he doesn't even believe that we have souls that live on after you die. He just thinks it's like once you die, it's done. It's over. You're dead. And nothing happens after that. And obviously, that's fine with me. Like I said, I don't care what you believe. And as long as you're not hurting anyone or wishing anyone ill will, which obviously he doesn't. He's like the nicest guy ever in the world. It's just crazy to me, and it's so hard to wrap my head around the fact that someone could just believe that nothing happens just because of how complex the world is and how complex humans are. And it's just like, how did we get here? There has to be something bigger. Or when you watch the video, and I don't even know if this is a real video because I know it's not a real video, but I don't know if that's real information or not because I saw it on TikTok. And yeah, I believe everything I see on TikTok for some reason. But then when I think about it, I'm like, girl, that's probably not real. But the video where it's starts at the Earth and then it's it zooms out and shows you all the planets, and then it goes outside of the galaxy and it shows that galaxy, and then it shows all the millions and trillions of galaxies, and it's every single thing in the world that we think is a mythological creature probably exists somewhere in one of those galaxies or in a planet in our galaxy. So how come I just feel like there's no way that something after death doesn't exist, or does exist? No, doesn't exist. There has to be something. There's no way that we just die after somehow our bodies figure out how to place everything in the perfect spots, how to make my organs work and my heart pump blood and make me breathe just without even thinking about breathing. I just don't understand. So, but obviously I'm just that's fine. I'm not mad at you for not believing, because I can understand how it can be hard to believe in something like a religion or anything, or God or anything spiritual, because there's not really true proof that anything exists like that. So it's really just kind of blindly believing in something greater with the knowledge that you have. And the knowledge that I have is just that life is too crazy, and the fact that we're living on this planet like little ants, and like there just has to be something after. Even if it's not what I think it is, there has to be something. But like, I hope it's fun, because if it's not, I'm going to be so upset. Like, I just need it to be fun. And yeah, so that's my update. Nothing really that fun or exciting, but I think that's really all I have to say about that. And I think we can get into story time at this point in time. So let me just click on the first story, which for some reason my links have not been working whenever I go. It's so annoying. Oh, wait, also, I was going to update you guys because someone commented on my last video about doing something creepy for the next episode for Halloween, which I want to do, and I can't really find like any nonfiction subreddits to read because I don't want them to be fake stories. I want them to be real stories, like real creepy, maybe paranormal-ish stories. But she commented, or he, I'm not really sure, I don't remember, saying that I should look on the Let's Not Meet subreddit. And I looked on there, but there's a lot of rules on there, and I have to get people's permission in order to share their stories. Otherwise, it's like copyright infringement. And so I did message a bunch of people. I went through that subreddit and I messaged a bunch of people asking for their permission, but unfortunately, no one has messaged me back. I mean, I don't really expect them to message me back that soon, but I need to figure out something else if this plan does not work out. So let me know if you guys have any other subreddits that don't have like super strict rules, because it says on a bunch of subreddits, like the no sleep one, which I think is fake, Let's Not Meet. There's a few other ones that are also very strict on their rules and like narrating and sharing them without people's permission. So if you know a creepy subreddit that's not like that, comment down below so that I can collect some stories. Or maybe, just maybe, people listening to this story, I just need like 4 or 5 good creepy Halloween stories. So if you have any creepy but real nonfiction stories, go in the description below, click on the subreddit link, and share for me, please, because I want to have a fun little Halloween spooky episode with you guys. Sorry, I need to itch the inside of my nose. I'm not picking it, I swear. All right, so let's just get into the episode now that I've shared all that with you, all that I could. I am going to give a content warning. Actually, I feel like I need to figure out a better way to do this because I also need to include it in my TikTok for when I post a clip about this story. So, we're going to say content warning, suicide, and self-harm. All right, so the title of this story is starting out very obviously depressing and sad, so I'm really sorry, but I have timestamps if you want to fast forward through the story, but that's a trigger warning. My boss killed himself and put me on his will before he died. Last year, my boss killed himself by overdose and put me in his will on the last day that I saw him. I was completely blindsided by the signs he showed, and for a while, I believed his suicide was something I could have prevented. The days leading up to his death were confusing. He convinced me that he was selling his home and moving away temporarily to another state until he decided what he wanted to do with his life. Of course, I found this strange, but I never questioned him, since my job was just to help him with personal and executive assistant errands. I packed his belongings in boxes, discarded personal items, gifted a car away, and even made a partnership deal for his large business so it could be in good hands before he left. I worked with my boss for 3 years and we developed a friendship. I even looked up to him as a mentor since he was twice my age, owned a multi-million-dollar business, and participated in things I aspired to do in my future. I think it's important to mention that I'm in my early 20s and had little to no experience when I began working with him as an assistant. I also struggled growing up in an abusive household, which my boss was able to relate to. He and I both struggled with depression and had alcoholic parents, although he knew I was depressed. Although he never knew I was depressed. The last day I saw him, he put my first name on his will, and when I heard about him again, I found out he passed away days after I saw him. Months after his passing, the new owner of the company accused me of writing my name on his will so my boss's parents would think negatively of me. My first interaction with my boss's father was over a phone call going over the accusation while he was intoxicated. I wasn't able to go into the full extent on how my relationship was with his son, but he did say we could eventually meet and that he would support me as family. It's been months since I spoke to my boss's father, and I'm wondering if I should reach out to touch base on things. A part of me does want to support holy shit. A part of me does want support from my boss's father, but I also think it would be best to leave the situation altogether since this was a complete tragedy for his family. The new owner of the company has faced accusations of mistreating my boss while he was struggling with drug abuse and pressured him into writing her into his will. The situation is complicated, and I just wanted to briefly share and maybe get some guidance or perspective from someone else. Thanks for tuning in, and I'd be happy to share or answer questions or clear things up in the comments. Wait, I'm so confused. Why did he leave his company to someone if they were mistreating him? Like, that's kind of sad. But I guess it seems like he trusted this person if he really wanted to leave his whole entire company to him, right? And then what I have to say about the girl, I understand it's a tragedy for the family, and I totally obviously agree that it's a tragedy. But it seems like I feel like in every sense of the matter, you should always respect the way that someone includes you after their death. Like, because obviously these are their last wishes, and this is what they want to leave for who or whom, I don't know, for whomever. And I just feel like their wishes should be respected, especially if, you know, I don't know. I just feel like no matter what, whatever you write on your will should be respected after you pass away. And whether people are angry about that or not is up to them, but this is up to you to continue on with what he wanted his last dying wish to be. And if that was for you to get whatever he gave you, then you should go on with that. Like, I think that you should accept it because obviously that's what he wanted. And if you don't take it, obviously that's fine. But in my opinion, I just feel like a will should always be followed because they're not here to be able to say anything about it. So you're like the one responsible for continuing his legacy the way that he saw fit when he was alive. So that's how I feel about that. I mean, that's very, very sad, and it's always so hard to think about that you could have prevented something, and this is such a cliched thing to say about this kind of situation, but nothing could have changed their mind. They needed to want help and to accept help, and if they didn't want help, that's not your fault. Although you obviously would love to know the way that people are struggling and try to help them, even if you did help them, or even if you did know how much they were struggling, even if you helped as much as you could, it still might have not prevented this, because that's just, I feel like people don't understand unless they have had these kind of thoughts before. It's very hard to comprehend, and I even didn't comprehend before. Like, I dealt with a lot of depression and suicidal ideation and things like that. Like, it was very hard for me to comprehend, like, why someone would ever want to end their life. Or people always say, like, it's so selfish, but now that I've dealt with that myself in the past, and then in the recent past, like last year, I was dealing with it, and a couple years leading up to that as well, it's so much easier for me to understand why and how that's not selfish. Like, I don't think that it's selfish at all, because the way that I felt was so illogical. Like, it's not a logical thought. It's not like you're thinking logical at that moment. Like, you're literally thinking about ending your life because you feel like that's the only way to get through. Or it's like, I don't even know how to explain it because obviously everyone feels differently, and I'm not saying that this is like everyone's experience, but for me it was just a never-ending cycle of like, this is, I'm never gonna be happy, I'm never gonna be content, and this is the way that I'm gonna feel forever. Then why would I want to waste my life feeling this way? I would rather just quit suffering. And I felt like I tried everything, although I obviously didn't because I'm on medication now and it's helping me so tremendously. But I felt like since I went to therapy for so long, and I felt like at the end of therapy I felt so much better, but it only lasted a couple months and I was like back to the way that I was feeling before. I just was like, nothing's ever going to change. Like, I'm never going to feel better. So, what is the point? And I wasn't thinking about anyone else, which you can call that selfish, but I just, that's just the way that my brain was working at that time. And I'm not saying that it was like the right way to think, but I don't know. It's just hard for me to say that it's like a selfish thing because I truly don't think that it is. I think that it's just some people's way of feeling better, which obviously is not the case. Like, you don't, you have given up your, you've given up your chance to ever feel better in this way, but that's because you don't ever feel like you're going to feel better. So that's the only way you see fit for your life. Some of the top comments. The first one says, get an attorney, let them do the contacting and advocating for you. You cannot trust anything mentioned by your boss's family or new company owner. OP said, I forgot to mention I contacted a dozen attorneys and none could help since only my first name was written in the will with nothing written next to it. Someone said, you forgot to mention that is a rather huge part of the story you left out. You are stuck then. OP said, yep, there's nothing I could do except learn from the experience and move on. Someone said, how does one learn from the experience of someone writing their first name into a will? The owner of a multi-billion-dollar company didn't know how to leave it to someone he wanted it in a legal way. OP said, what I mean by learning from the experience is not from my name being written on the will, but from getting to know him and what I could have done differently. I wasn't aware of the signs of a suicidal person, and now I am. Don't be too judgmental on yourself. Many people are like cats. They hide their pain before they go, or they might feel better because they already made up their mind. Sorry you've had to face this in life. I have a similar friendship with my boss. I worry what the future holds as we're a small company and he's had some close call health scares. I wish you all the support and closure you need. Don't dwell on the opinions of others. You can cherish the relationship you had and keep those lessons learned from him forever. Best of luck to you in the future. Well, given he probably wasn't in a sound mental state, but that would also compromise the will itself. Was it underlined / scratched out and your name is Kendall? What? I don't know what that means, but it's obviously a reference to something that I don't know what it means. But I don't know. I guess I didn't realize that. I mean, she obviously didn't include that in the story, so that's hard. I mean, I wonder what even if you write someone's name in your will, like, don't you write what you're giving them? But he just wrote the name. That's very interesting. Who wrote this will for him? Because I feel like, don't you need someone professional to write it? So what, this person just was like, let me just put this name and nothing next to it. Just put it in there. It doesn't really make any sense, but that's sad. And I'm very sorry for your loss. It's so crazy to go through things like that, and I haven't even really gone through it with someone extremely close to me. I have had like friends that have committed suicide, but like my sister's friends, and then I did have a friend that did in high school as well, but we weren't like super close. I hung out with her a handful of times and seen her at a lot of like parties and events and stuff, but I couldn't say that I was like super close to her or anything. But it was very sad because years prior, not that many years, probably a year or two prior to that all happening, she went through something so crazy. It was extremely crazy. I almost felt like when I was watching, if you guys have seen the show 13 Reasons Why, it did get a little crazy after season 1 because they definitely like dragged it on for a little too long. But season 1 really reminded me of this situation that happened with this girl that I'm talking about in my town. So we have like a bunch of in my town, there's a bunch of, it's like a smaller town, and then there's multiple towns surrounding, as in that's literally how the geographical map works. But we were all like friends with each other. So it's very normal for us to be friends with everyone in different school districts and stuff. And like I was really good friends with people that she went to school with at her school, and then I went to a separate school. So I had like a friend group at my school, and then I had a friend group at this school, and then there was like a few other schools that we were just friends with everyone. Okay. There was just like, I was friends with people from this school, and then this school, and then this school, and that's how pretty much everyone in my town and surrounding towns were like. And at one point, when I was like a sophomore, I think, at this time, she was a little bit older than me. I think she was a year or two older than me. And I can't even remember everything, but I just remember Twitter was really popular when I was in high school, and everyone tweeted like 100 million times a day anything that you were doing, the TBH, like for TBH, or like stupid shit like that. So it was very, very prevalent to be on Twitter, and everyone had a Twitter, and everyone was tweeting, and everyone would subtweet. And this girl, something happened where I think she like cheated on her boyfriend, and he was a very, very beloved guy. They went to the same school. And so I'm pretty sure, I could be getting this wrong because it's so long ago, but I think that's where it stemmed from. And then some crazy stuff happened, and she had to transfer schools because everyone on Twitter was bullying the fuck out of her. Like, even her close friends that were once her close friends, I would see tweets of people just coming at her like crazy. It reminds me so much of what happened in 13 Reasons Why, this whole situation. And obviously I'm like giving very vague details because this is like a situation that I'm not sure directly correlates with that, but I'm sure it had something to do with it, because it didn't happen, like she didn't end up taking her life until years after. But just like what I can say is that everyone in my town was bullying her, and even close friends of hers that were once close with her were bullying her like crazy. And then she moved, and people were still bullying her like crazy. Rumors were being spread about her like wildfire. And then she did eventually end up coming back, and things settled down a lot, and she still had her core group of friends, and she was a beautiful, beautiful girl. Like, I literally was always so jealous of her. I thought that she was like the most gorgeous girl ever. And yeah, it was a really, really, really sad situation. It was actually insane when I think about it. And it's just crazy how cruel people can be, especially when you're in high school. And it's like, obviously when you look back at it, like when I look back at it, I'm like, there were times where I went through things in school. Like when I was in like, oh God, 8th grade, I sent like an older boy. He was, I think, just a year older than me. I was in 8th grade. He was in 9th grade. And I sent him like a couple nudes, which, why was I sending nudes in 8th grade? Lord only knows. But he ended up sending them around. And when I got into high school, like people had known, but nothing that crazy even came out of it. I just know that like I was friends with girls that were 2 years older than me, and they were shaming me so hard for it. They were like, I can't believe that. And like no one else was saying anything to me. That's how I found out about it, were these girls that I was friends with that were like 2 years older than me, and they were judging me so hard for it. And I'm like, you guys are telling me you never sent a nude in your life? Like, I'm sorry that he chose to send it out to other people, and then they're like making fun of me for it. But yeah, I'll never forgive him for that. I mean, seriously, what's wrong with him? Like, I recently saw him when I went back for Christmas, but we're never ever close because, he literally sent my nudes to people. And I'm just like, ew, still don't like you. Even though that was literally 10 years ago. Or no, literally more than that, like 13 years ago. But I'm like, you're gross. Like, don't send people's nudes to other people, especially when I'm like in 8th grade. Like, what is there even to see? Because let me tell you, there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. And you want to know what I did for that picture? I think that's like, honestly, that was probably like, other than like my boyfriends, that was probably the only nude I sent to some guy that I wasn't dating. But when I took this picture of myself, I literally, first of all, I think I had like a rumor touch at the moment. I took clear tape because I felt like I had the tiniest boobs, okay? So I don't know why I did this, but I've told you guys that I have like naturally, I just have pointy and they're not super saggy, but they're definitely not perky by any means. So I took clear tape and I put it over my boobs and like lifted them a little bit with the tape. And then I took a picture like that. Like, girl, you're in 8th grade. How saggy could your boobs be at that point? They probably were literally this big. But that's a tip if you want to know. Just take clear tape. Take a blurry-ish picture, but not too blurry. And you have a perfect picture on your hands. I don't know if my face was in it. I can't remember, but I don't really care now. When I think back to it, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Also, that would now be considered CP, so please tell me you deleted that. No, I'm sure he did. That was so long ago. Okay, anyways, we're going to get on to the next story, okay? The next story is called My Brother is Having an Affair with His Wife. My little brother left his wife of 11 years for someone he met in a co-ed pickleball league. Yeah, you read that right. His wife is my best friend. Sometimes I forget she isn't my actual sister. It feels like we grew up together. They started dating when they were 20, got married at 27, and they're now 38. I've known her literally our whole adult lives. Anyway, I'm in a weird position. He left my sister-in-law for this other woman. He moved in with said woman in December of last year. Apparently, they'd been sleeping together for about 5 months at the time, and they were in love. My brother was going on and on about how he was so in love, etc. at our parents' house last Thanksgiving when we were all laying into him about what the F he did. He'd never felt this way before, yada yada. Our whole family was mad at him because we loved my sister-in-law. But it really seemed like he was convinced that this affair partner was the one and that he'd just been with my sister-in-law because it's all he had ever known, and he felt like he was going to miss out on an opportunity of his life if he didn't leave for this woman. After Thanksgiving, he distanced himself a lot from me, my sister, and our parents. I think he felt unsupported, and to be fair, we weren't very supportive about the situation at all. My sister-in-law and I have stayed close, and a few days ago, I stopped by to return a pair of her sunglasses on the way home from work. Imagine my surprise when I looked in the window and saw my brother sitting stool-side at the kitchen island with his shirt off. He awkwardly let me in, mumbled something about needing to head home, and left without even a goodbye. My sister-in-law told me that they've been sleeping together for 2 months and that he was having deep regrets about leaving. My family basically doesn't have a relationship anymore with my brother over breaking my sister-in-law's heart, but it turns out that they are now sneaking around too. I don't even know what advice I'm looking for. This is such a messy situation, and I just needed to put it out into the internet for people to ponder and share opinions, advice, and feedback. What the actual F? Girl, don't take him back. Men always want what they don't have. Not that they can't have it, but it's what they don't have at that moment. It's crazy. It's crazy. And this is the shit that scares me because I'm like, oh my God. I know women cheat too, okay? But this is about a man, so we're going to talk about men. And I'm not here to shame women. But it's crazy, 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 crazy to me that this shit happens. Like, you're telling me you think this person's the love of your life. You need to be with them. They are the one. And then you go back and you cheat on her with the girl that you left her for? That makes absolutely zero sense in the world. What the fuck is wrong with you? And what is wrong with your brain? Because why? I need these people to be studied in a lab, and I need their brains to be scanned, and what can they do? Please fix it, because I'm so tired of hearing this bullshit. Like, I'm so tired of it. Ugh. Stop cheating and lying and being gross, disgusting men. Just stop. It's not that hard, I promise you. Like, it's not. I've literally been in a relationship now for basically 3 years, okay? We did break up for 3 months and whatever. But I've never, ever thought about cheating once. And if I did, it would ruin my entire life. And I would be literally so stressed to the point where I would probably die in my sleep from a heart attack because I would be so anxious all the time. If I even had one dream about, like, kissing another man, I literally am so stressed and I'm like, oh my God, I just cheated on my boyfriend. And then I wake up the next day and I'm like, oh my God, thank God that wasn't real, because that's just terrible. Like, why would you do that? Because you just know. Obviously, when you're first starting to date someone, okay, things are so good, so honeymoon, so you're in love. Like, the feelings are just so, like, lust and what is it, limerence. Oh my God, I'm about to burp, sorry. And then after a while, you start to get comfortable with each other. And that's just how a relationship works. Like, you just start to get comfortable with each other. And obviously, it's going to be different from the first time you guys start to meet and you guys are learning about each other and all that stuff. And I'm not saying that every relationship just, like, falls and dwindles downhill and, like, you just don't love each other as much, because I'm going to say that me and my boyfriend love each other so much more. It's just a different type of love. Like, obviously, when we first met, things were exciting. We were just meeting. And, like, when we like to think back to that time because it was so exciting and fun and stuff. But obviously, like, we didn't love each other. We were just, like, excited and we had lust for one another. But now it's like it's so much deeper than that. Like, it's a best friendship. It's a bond, a partnership together. And yeah, that's going to feel different than when you first meet someone. But let me tell you that if you feel that way for another person, you think that it's going to stay like that forever? No. It's going to end up going into the same type of cycle, and you just have to accept that that's the way that a committed relationship is. That it's not going to be all butterflies and rainbows and excitement and oh my God, like, like you're going to be living a life with this person. You're going to have a partnership with this person, and it's going to feel different than someone that you just met for the first time and that you're so excited about, because that just doesn't last forever, and that's fine. But you have to be logical and think about that kind of stuff. Think about the fact that you're literally ruining your life and for just another relationship that probably, if I'm going to assume, I don't know if you guys are happy or not, but, like, if I left my boyfriend for someone else, I would be kicking myself in the ass, because I know for a fact that we are just such a good fit. Like, we are so good together. We are so compatible. And of course, I'm sure there's another person out there that I could be compatible with and good together with, but why would I give up what I have now that is almost perfect? Obviously, nothing's perfect, but why would I give that up for just, like, something else that is just so stupid to me? Okay, I'm gonna read some of the top comments. Stay out of it at this point. It is a mess, and you don't want to be any part of that drama. Sometimes the best answer is to do nothing. They're adults. Let them work it out between them. He obviously had a midlife crisis and regrets his actions. The ball is in the sister-in-law's court on how she handles it. It's nobody else's business. Oh my God. I thought someone was over there. Or he's just a massive POS who thinks he can get away with anything. This is a very tired excuse for the behavior of married men who want it both ways. But society doesn't call it a midlife crisis for them. True. Well, I agree. Well, I agree only because he can no longer call to get them on the... Come on, I need to see real comments. I don't want the joke. Not your circus, not your monkey. Let them deal with it. If they haven't divorced yet, they may be moving into fixing things. Nah, both are her monkeys, but doesn't have to be her circus. She can support her best friend through this and still stay out of advising or chastising. Interesting. I read OP in as a male. Oh, really? I didn't. Weird, me too, and I scrolled back up to realize everything is gender neutral. Wonder why I assumed male. Because the sister-in-law is OP's best friend. It is certainly likely for the OP to be female, though of course it's not guaranteed. This is the kind of situation where anything you say can and will be used against you. Best to leave them alone and figure out the mess. Having said that, your sister-in-law deserves better. She's okay with him not only cheating on her, but not fighting to keep this marriage. He has so little respect for her that she will keep sleeping with him while he's still in a relationship with his affair partner. OP said, I did ask her about this. I said, so he just goes home to his girlfriend? Sister-in-law says that my brother is just waiting for her to take him back. He's been apparently trying to get her back for a handful of months, and somewhere along the way, my sister-in-law broke and let him start coming over again. The rest is history. I tried to call my brother to ask what was going on, but he isn't returning my calls. I'm leaving the situation alone now, but it's so awkward. Yeah, I guess I would just it'd be so hard for me to leave myself out of this situation because sometimes I like to give unsolicited opinions, and maybe I shouldn't, but I would definitely be judging my brother. I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, you piece of shit? Because I can. And that's how I would feel about it. I would just be like, you're not okay. You are not in your right mind. You need to go somewhere. Maybe you need to be single for a little bit because it seems like you are ruining people's lives. Not only did you just ruin your wife's life, then you went and ruined this girl's life. And now you're going back to your wife and then probably going to ruin her life again at some point. Because how could you ever trust someone after that? I mean, even after me and my boyfriend just broke up for 3 months, because he did break up with me, mind you, let me tell you, and I don't let him live that, what's the saying? And don't let him live that, what is that saying? I don't know, but I remind him of it, which I know I shouldn't. I know that's unhealthy, but sometimes I'm just annoyed and I'm like, oh, remember when you broke up with me? Yep. Remember that? So, and sometimes it's hard. Like sometimes I go through spurts where I'm like, don't really trust him, but then I do. Like I really do deep down. Like I know that I trust him as a person, but then I'll think about back to that time and I'm like, why the F would he break up with me? Like, that's crazy. We were long distance at the time, so maybe it made sense, okay? But to me, it didn't. And it was the most traumatizing breakup of my entire life. And it was absolutely terrible. Like, literally so terrible. I've never felt that kind of deep pain before. So, I would never let him live that down. I know I should, though. I know it's so toxic of me to bring it up, but I try not to. Sometimes it just comes out. All right, we're going to go to the next story, though. Okay, this one's a little bit longer. The title is, Am I the asshole for refusing full custody of my daughter after my husband asked for a divorce? I, 31 female, have been together with my husband, Alex, 33 male, for 7 years, married for 4 years. Alex was always really excited about the prospect of children from the beginning of our relationship. I was always on the fence. I've seen how hard single moms have it. I promised myself I'd never be in that position. Plus, I work as a software engineer. I love my career and I didn't want to give it up to be a mom. After Alex and I got married, those fears went away. We were very much in love. I felt safe with him. I told him my fears, and he said all the right things to make them vanish. So we tried for a baby and had our daughter, Ramona, after 2 years after we got married. The pregnancy and first year with the baby was extremely hard on me. I had multiple health problems during and after the pregnancy that were life-threatening and altered my body permanently. I was disabled and nearly died once in the 6 months after I gave birth. And during this time, my husband grew distant and became angry frequently when we would speak. I spent a lot of time in and out of the hospital, and I was unable to work. So a lot of the baby care went to him during this time. It was all I could do to stay alive and get better, being separated from my daughter and husband so much. Eventually, I did get better enough to help more with the baby, but after I was discharged from the hospital, he barely spoke to me. I want to clarify early that at no time did I ever neglect our daughter if I was able to care for her. I leaned on him a lot during this period, but I was also fighting for my health and for my life so that I could continue to be there for her. If I had pushed myself too hard, I would have made it worse or be dead. We stayed in a state of limbo like this for a while. I was still in recovery, not back to 100% yet, but able to resume a somewhat normal life, and we shared more responsibility with Ramona. I tried talking to him many times over the next 6 months, but it was more of the same thing. He wouldn't speak to me or he would get angry, and every little thing I did insist I was making things up and blame me for somehow criticizing him. It was a constant deflection from whatever was bothering him. I got another job about 9 months after the pregnancy, and things seemed to improve for a while, or at least I thought. Not long after Ramona's first birthday, Alex served me with divorce papers. He said he'd fallen out of love with me a long time ago and was ready to start anew. I was in shock. Things had started to improve between us, but he explained that was because he decided to leave and he felt less unhappy. It was a Saturday when this happened, so I made sure he was going to be home to care for Ramona for the weekend, and then I packed a bag and left until Sunday evening. I didn't say where I was going, and truthfully, I didn't really go anywhere but drive. I drove 2 states over by the time I stopped. I needed to think. When I got back Sunday evening, he was pissed I'd left him alone with our daughter. He's always seemed really put off any time he had to care for her alone, and this time was no exception. I sat him down and very carefully said, I will grant you a no contest divorce, but I am not accepting full custody of Ramona. If he was only pissed before, he was explosive now, and everything he hated about me finally came out. That I was a horrible mother, that I wasn't strong enough to even be a mother, that I was too weak to carry a child and now I was abandoning her. I very calmly stated that I loved her dearly and would not abandon her, that I would pay child support and visit her every other weekend, that I would be there for her in any way that I could, but I had been very clear with him when we got married that I would never be a single mom. He became borderline violent at this, grabbing things like he was going to throw them and screaming that I was ruining his life on purpose. I wasn't going to stick around to be talked to like this, so I went and checked on Ramona, gave her a kiss, and then grabbed my bag and left again. A couple days later, his mother texted me. He'd left Ramona with her for a few days, and she had some nasty things to say to me, that a mother should never leave their child, etc. I told her it wasn't her business and that her son doesn't get a free pass to restart his life because his wife nearly died and when she was pregnant and he became resentful with the responsibility. He has also blown up my phone asking me when I'm coming back so you can take your daughter, but I've only replied, I've already told you what's going to happen here. I love my daughter immensely and I will be a provider for her. I will always support her, but I won't be her primary parent. So am I the asshole? Well, the interesting thing is that, I mean, she's not suggesting 50-50 split, which I feel like would be the right thing to do. I mean, I understand. I don't know if I understand, actually. I have to think about this, guys. What I'm really confused about is that why does the dad seem like he doesn't want anything to do with the daughter at this point? Like saying that she's your daughter, you need to come get your daughter, and then being like saying that I need to start anew, I'm going to restart my life. Like, why are you able to do that? Is he implying that he's going to give up like full custody of this daughter? So like neither of them are going to have full, like, I'm just confused because she's obviously saying that she's going to like see her on the weekends and stuff. I don't know if she means she's just going to come see her and like visit with her or if she's actually going to like take her in and take care of her or what. But I don't know, guys. I mean, in my opinion, like, you had the child, and if you only had the child to make your husband happy at that point, I don't think that was the right decision. You probably should have thought a little more about that, and then you probably should have not had a child to begin with. If the fact of the matter, because you know that at that point, there's any possibility. There's no guarantee that you guys are going to stay together forever, although that's obviously the goal of marriage. Anything can happen, and clearly it did because he ended up filing for divorce and serving you with divorce papers. So you probably should have thought about that when you have a kid. Like, that's always a possibility that you're going to have a kid and then maybe you'll end up getting divorced in the future. And was your plan just to, like, have him take care of the kid and then come spend the weekends with her? And then on his end, Like, I honestly think that they're both wrong and that they're both seeming like they're deflecting responsibility for this kid when the kid is their, both of their responsibilities. They should both be wanting to take care of their kids. Like, I understand you don't want to be a single mother, but I'm confused. What does that mean? Because I need a little bit more explanation. Are you saying you will never be a single mom, as in you will never take care of this mom, or not this mom, you'll never take care of this child, like, alone? So you're not gonna. Ugh, I'm confused. I just don't understand. I'll grant you an oath, but not expect. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to accept full custody. But what about like half and half? I very calmly stated that I love her, but I will visit her every other weekend. Visit her. That's the key word, visit. I feel like you should both have half and half responsibility for the kid. And why? This is so sad that this kid has to like, no, like, basically both of them are saying, you take her. No, you take her. No, you take her. No, you take her. Like, that's sad. You guys both decided to have a child. You both need to take responsibility. Or you shouldn't have had the child in the first place. I don't know. I don't agree with either of them. And I feel really bad that the mom had to go through all of that. And obviously, like, that's no reason for the dad to. That's really fucked up that he blamed her and saying that, like, you are too weak to carry a baby, as if that's her fault. Like, what? She literally, her body just didn't react well to it. That's not her fault. I don't know. I'm stressed because I don't know what to say. Let's read some of the top comments so I can get a little bit more perspective into this. Have you looked into adoption? I wouldn't trust your husband with her. I'm sure you could find a nice family for her, better than bringing her up feeling unwanted. Yeah, for real. I'm impressed with OP's ability to recognize she wouldn't be a good mother. I think not enough people have that level of introspect, but damn, what a terrible situation for their daughter. Okay, if she recognizes that she wouldn't be a good mother, then she shouldn't have had a child in the first place. It wasn't an accident. Like, you knowingly had this baby thinking that you wouldn't be a good mother, then why would you do it? You shouldn't just do something to make your husband happy. If you don't want kids, you shouldn't bring a kid into this world. Nobody's really thinking about this child. I mean, OP says her husband was borderline violent. Throwing stuff is violent, and then abandons her kid to his care. Poor kid, that's all I can say. I used to teach and had a young man with a pretty intense attachment issues. Found out later his parents were constantly fighting over who would not have custody. Yeah, that's so sad. I swear people just sometimes, like, they'll get married and then they'll have a kid because they think that it's going to make their lives better or their marriage better, I guess, not their lives. It's going to make their relationship better or stronger, but there's any possibility. The mom could have died in childbirth. And instead, she had a lot of complications after where she almost died. Like, you have to think about every possibility. A child is a lot of responsibility, and you have to think that you're taking full responsibility of a child by deciding to have one. So in my opinion, they're both the assholes, and I think that I don't like them. I need to find more comments. It sounds like your daughter is still very young. You and your ex should do the right thing by that child and put her up for adoption. She will then have parents who want and love her, and she won't even remember you two. It's best all around. It's just so sad because, yeah, I do agree, but ugh, adoption isn't always the best experience for some kids. And obviously, it's not like you can take back having a child now, but I really wish that you wouldn't have had her in the first place if you didn't want her. Truly and honestly, if you both really were so... I just don't understand why you have the kid. I know it's cold, but I agree that child deserves better, and if neither of them want her, then they need to own up and fully commit to these choices. Thousands of couples want to adopt and want to give Ramona the family she deserves. These two people never should have had kids, but they did. Yeah. Unfortunately. So I'm going to rule that as they're both the assholes, and they should have never had a kid in the first place. But I guess the best case scenario, if they really both don't want her, would be giving her up for adoption. And I could just hope and pray that she gets placed with a good family, which is not guaranteed. All right, next story. I'm making plans to leave my husband. I feel relieved and guilty about it. The straw broke the camel's back last night, and I guiltily feel almost relieved about it. For context, my husband, 33 male, either cannot or will not prioritize me, 29 female, at all. We've been married for almost 8 years. I'm not expecting to be treated like a queen, but I want to be treated like I'm actually his partner in life. My husband is a blue-collar worker who works a family business in the construction field. Because it's a family business, there is seemingly no boundary between his work and personal life. It's like he's married to his job. Anniversary trips have been canceled the day before because he needed to work. He couldn't pick me up from surgery because he needed to work last minute. He has canceled every date I've tried to plan in the last 4 years because he suddenly has to work. I gave up a year ago, though, etc. It just seems like every time I try to plan something to spend more time with him, he suddenly needs to work and cancels on me last minute. I constantly feel like I'm being stood up for prom, but I'm his wife. But it's not as if he only prioritizes work and flakes on his friends. There are much too many examples of how he has been able to make plans with his buddies to meet up and drink beer, smoke cigars, shoot the shit. His friends will call him and invite him on a spur-of-the-moment, week-long fishing trips, and my husband will leave work immediately to pack and hit the road. But when I wanted to go to a nice restaurant for our anniversary one evening, he told me the night before that I needed to cancel the reservation because he would be working late. It makes me feel like he prioritizes spending time with his friends over me because he'll easily blow off work for them, but he never does it for me. I also feel like he prioritizes his goals over mine. He has taken out loans for the family business's sake using our joint money without even talking to me about it first. This has happened 3 times. Although our dating relationship and engagement, he told me he wanted children. After we had been married 4 years ago, I told him I wanted to start trying for a baby. He told me he never wanted kids, and he had always been afraid to tell me because he didn't want to lose me, but now I feel like he took away my option. I really do appreciate how hard my husband works, but I just wanted to spend time with him and have time made for me, like he'll do for his friends. I have made peace with the fact that I may never be a mother. I'm not sure if I'm being petty about this entire thing, but I feel like he robbed me of my best chance in years for doing it, at the very least. I told him in April that I wanted to get a divorce, and I explained why, but I told him I was willing to do marriage counseling. He told me he wanted to do marriage counseling with our pastor, so we did, and my husband's biggest issue with me is that I'm disorganized. It's true. I have ADHD and often lose things. I'm trying to work on it. But my husband also complained about our sex life. But I tried explaining that I'm rarely in the mood because he only ever touches me when he wants to have sex. He never wants to hold hands, hug me, kiss me, etc. So now I cringe when he reaches for me because I know it only is because he wants sex. And I think because I was the one asking for the divorce, I was seen as the problem/troublemaker. The pastor was convinced that I had some romantic comedy script in my mind, and I wasn't being realistic about what it means to run your own business. I had to work on being more understanding, patient, and on lowering my expectations and standards. I feel like all I had been asking for was to be treated like a priority and not an afterthought. But the straw broke the camel's back last night. We have been planning to go on a long weekend trip with my siblings and their spouses this upcoming weekend. 2 days ago, my husband told me he had to work this upcoming weekend and couldn't go on the trip. Never mind that it's non-refundable at this point, I said okay and would see if I could get a friend/cousin to come with me instead. And then yesterday he came home all giddy and excited. He told me a buddy of his just called and invited him to a weekend bachelor party this upcoming weekend. Wow, he is so excited to go. Except the guy he's going to celebrate is someone he told me he dislikes on multiple occasions. So he canceled going on a weekend trip with myself and my family because he has to work, but he immediately agrees to go on a bachelor's trip for someone he dislikes. Like he literally chose someone he dislikes over his wife. Maybe I'm the one he dislikes. I'm not sure if I'm being ridiculous about why I want to leave, but I now no longer care. I'm indescribably unhappy in this marriage, and it's time for me to make a plan and get out. I still feel like I'm young enough that I'm not starting completely over, and I'm very thankful that we don't have children. I feel relieved that it's going to end now. I feel guilty for feeling this way, but it's the truth. Girl, break up with him. I mean, not break up. Divorce him. Divorce. Ew. Disgusting. Like, he's so blatantly doing this to you. It's crazy. He's not even thinking about, like, hiding it and like, I mean, not saying that he should, but like being like, sorry, I'm working all weekend, and then going on this bachelor's party. He straight up canceled all the plans with you for a trip that you're taking that's non-refundable, and then he comes home and says he's going on a bachelor weekend. Son, why are you even married? You should go be married to your friends. Like, what? Also, no one should ever feel like they're not young enough and they need to start completely over. Because, first of all, thank God you don't have kids. And second of all, there's no, like, it's never too late to start over if you're unhappy in a marriage. Because what's the point in staying in the marriage? You want to be unhappy for the rest of your life? Or do you want to start completely over and probably most likely be way happier for the rest of your life? Girl, I mean, I would be so over it by this point. Like, it would be like that type of breakup, even though they're obviously divorced or married, so it's way different. But, you know, it's that type of breakup where it's like you were already so done with it a year ago, and now it's like you're not even going to be sad when it finally ends. Excuse me. Because, like, thank God at this point. Like, I just needed that last sign. You know, it's like sometimes you can't tell your friend you shouldn't be with them. You need to break up with them because there's so many things that they did terrible to you, but they need that, you know, it's like they need that person to just do them wrong so many times up to the point where they're finally over it. Because there's always that point where it's like, okay, actually I don't like you anymore. It's like a switch. It's literally like a switch flips when you've been done wrong so many times by this person that is supposed to be your partner, and then it's like you're finally like, you know what, after the 20th time I can honestly say that I actually am over it, and it's going to be so easy for me to leave. Okay, there's an edit. She says, edit, I want to thank everyone for your support, well wishes, and validation. I appreciate all the encouragement about having a baby. As of right now, I feel very neutral about having children in the future. If I never do, it's okay. I know I will be happier, totally single and childless than I have ever been in this marriage, but if I end up pregnant one day, I would also be happy. The children issue was a much bigger deal when it happened. That was a deep wound for a few years, but it has calloused over a lot, and I feel neutral towards having children at the moment. I do plan to provide an update when I have either filed/moved out. Thank you again, everyone. I didn't expect this much support when I woke up this morning. I feel very validated, and I don't feel like I'm the crazy one after all. You are not the crazy one. Okay, the top comment says, having read your whole post, I don't have a single note. Best of luck on your new journey, and I hope you find someone who appreciates you the way that you deserve. Opie said, thank you very much. Someone said, leave, you're young, go follow your dreams, have babies, have fun, and be a priority to yourself, and you will be a priority for someone else. There's nothing for you in this marriage. Life's too short to settle for less. You deserve someone who prioritizes you and makes you feel valued. At 29, you still got time for a kid if you find a keeper. 2 of my friends had kids at 38 and 39 this year. One was a first-time mom. Slay queen. You got this. I'm really excited for the next phase of your life where you find someone who treats you like you're the number one priority. Same, honestly. Nothing to feel guilty for. He's shown you countless times that you're not a priority. Onward and upward. OMG, yes, please leave, OP. This is incredibly hard. I get being a workaholic, but that's not what he does. He is taking you for granted, and he's living his life as if he's single. You're young. Leave now. No regrets. YOLO. Good luck, friend. She said, thank you. I feel weightless, to be honest. Yeah, that's going to be one of those, like, separations or divorces or breakups, whatever. That is just going to feel so good afterwards, and you just feel like a weight lifted off your chest because it's like, finally, I don't have to be single-handedly, one-sidedly fighting for this whole relationship. Like, I'm the only one fighting for it and trying to force this person to fight for it, but they won't. That's like the most annoying thing ever. It's like when you are playing tug of war with someone and you can never get the rope more than like a couple inches. They just always have it. It's like so frustrating. And it literally feels like so frustrating because you're like, the way that I just want this person to try. And it's like you want to keep giving them chances to try. And then they say they're going to try. And then they literally don't even try for one day. And then it's like, okay, great. I was ready to leave, and then I gave him a second chance, and now it's like I have to threaten to break up again, and then you threaten to break up again, and then it's like, oh, trust me, I'll do whatever I can. Let's go to counseling. Let's do this and this and this. And then it's 2 days later. They're like, oh, thank God I have her back. Let me go fuck her over again. Those are the most frustrating things in the world. Like, that is literally such a frustrating relationship. And the second you feel like that, you should end it because it's not worth it. But I think that's the end of the episode. My head is starting to hurt, and it's probably from this energy drink, if I'm being honest with you. So I'm going to go chug some water because I need it, and I haven't really had that much water today, and I did a really hard workout class this morning. It was literally so hard. I'm going to be so sore, guys. Also, this weekend, me and my boyfriend, I wanted to see if I could do more push-ups than him because in high school, I set the record for push-ups for girls, and when we did, like, you know how you do all the tests, like the mile and all that stuff, we had a push-up test, like a pacer, where you would have to like push up when the sound, it was like up, down, beep, and that'd be like one push-up, and I got 35 push-ups. So I was like, I could probably do 35 push-ups now, but unfortunately I can't. I did 20 though, which is getting there, and he did 33, so I'm gonna try to do more than him at some point. But my boobies are so sore from just doing those 20 push-ups. And then I had the hardest fucking workout class this morning. Like, she literally kicked my literal asshole. And I have the same one booked for tomorrow, but I'm like, am I going to be too sore? Because I feel like I am. So I'll keep you guys updated. But me editing this, looking at the fact that my full feet are in the video. Girl, please put the dogs away. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Leave a comment below on any opinions you had of any of the stories or just anything you want. Let me know what you were drinking this episode. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next episode of the Storytime Society. XOXO. Mwah. Goodbye.